Hey friends, welcome to Christopher's Book Club. Thank you so much again for joining me today. I hope you're all keeping safe and keeping well. We're doing a reading vlog, baby. We're doing a reading vlog. A couple of parish notes before we begin. Yes, I am wearing a hat because my hair is getting ridiculously long and I sometimes can't be arsed styling it. I'll probably get into trouble from my boyfriend. He'll be like, why are you wearing a hat in your video? But YOLO. Second of all, you might think that I'm speaking with a bit of a lisp. That is true. God, I just did it right there. Basically, I've just started my Invisalign treatment. I was up in Glasgow this week getting it sorted. I was allowed to go via lockdown measures because I was getting dentistry work done. But yeah, I basically started Invisalign, which are kind of like these invisible braces in your teeth, and they kind of move them about and shape them to the way that you want it to go. So hopefully by July, not too long, I'm going to be having my Hollywood smile. But currently right now, I've just got them in for the past couple of days. They're very sore. My teeth are very sensitive. I have this like squidgy thing and I have to every so often just do this. Ow. To like keep them in place. Gross. Yeah, so if I spit or slabber at some point in this video, I apologise in advance. Yeah, so we're going to do a reading vlog. I'm going to film myself over the next week, kind of reading some books. I currently don't know what those books are yet. They'll be in the title of this video when I decide. But right now, yeah, I'm going to try and maybe aim for about 3 books to film myself doing, and maybe show you a bit of what I'm doing in this lockdown. Number 3. It probably won't be anything exciting, but I'll try and make it as interesting as possible. Sound good? Yes! So the first book that I am reading, I've started reading on the train basically, going up to Glasgow and coming back down, is the Pulitzer Prize from last year, the winner, Shuggie, Bain by Douglas Stewart. I am a Glaswegian, a proud Glaswegian. This book is set in Glasgow in the 1980s, and I have to say, like, I'm flying through it because I think it's so gripping already. I'm so in it. I remember once watching a Billy Connolly documentary about his like kind of love letter to Glasgow, and he said something like, I'm going to paraphrase this really badly, but he said, comedy, like drama, is all about conflict, and that Glasgow is his city of conflict. He remembers so much about it and says that he loves Glasgow, but that love was always matched with the urge to want to leave. And when he said that, and when I watched that, I was like, that is exactly me. That is how I feel about it. I grew up in a town just outside Glasgow, and lived there pretty much until I was 21, 22. My mum still lives there, and my uncle, and I have loads of friends that still live up there. But I was always someone who wanted to move. I wanted to move to London. I want to travel the world and see places and all that sort of stuff. So I always had that feeling of it. But at the exact same time, whenever I'm not there, I feel this kind of nostalgia about it. And this book is just exactly, it fills all those needs for me. It's one of those books where I can honestly, like, I can smell the fish and chip grease that he's talking about, and the smoky pubs and all this stuff, like the things that he's describing in it. Like, it's truly amazing. I already know I'm gonna fly through it next. Like, I'm gonna finish it probably, if not tonight, probably tomorrow if I get my head down. It's pretty. It feels like it's heavy subject matter. You've got, it's a family that is in poverty. There's alcohol addiction and drugs, and well, there's not so much drugs. It's more about alcohol addiction, I guess. And abusive relationships, and so I definitely feel that once I'm finished this book, I'm gonna want like a kind of palate cleanser, something in the middle, something a bit maybe a romance. Although I never really read romances, but maybe this might be the vlog. Who knows? You'll know because it'll say in the title, but I don't right now, currently. I might ask for some opinions on what I should read in the middle. Yeah, because I don't think that I'm going to jump. I don't think I'm going to jump from this straight into another big heavy book because I think it'll kill me. But yeah, I'm going to film myself reading a bit more. I'll show you what I'm kind of doing, what I'm watching, all that kind of jazz. And let's just see how we get on. Cool. Yeah, sounds like a plan. Have I learned how to do coffee art yet? No. I never actually used to drink coffee until like last year, and now like can't live without it. And then I bought that machine for my boyfriend's Christmas, and it was the best decision I've ever made, because now I just get to drink nice coffee all the time. Happy Sunday, everyone. I have just came back from being out on a long walk. It's still quite cold here in London in the moment. I also have got these new like Red Wing boots that I bought for Christmas. No, that I got given to me as a present for Christmas. But they are still, it's March time. I've been wearing them for like 3 months now, and I still have the worst blisters from them every time I wear them. I was literally limping home by the time I got back. So now I'm just going to chill out for the rest of Sunday. I'm going to get this bad boy finished, hopefully. I can foresee that it's going to be a 5-star book. I'm giving them out left, right and centre these days, but it's just because I'm picking some good books to read. Yeah, I'm going to chill out. Might have a Sunday roast for dinner tonight. I also feel like I'm going to be watching Your Honour, which is the new Bryan Cranston TV programme that everyone's talking about because it looks so good. So I think I'm going to do that. Should be doing a workout. We'll see how we feel. My bags under my eyes today are very big. So yeah, I'll maybe speak to you later on. I made chicken pasta for dinner tonight. And, you know, pretty simple dish. And this is the mess I do when I'm cooking. I just can't clean as I go. I just can't do it. Look. I'm just going to turn it around so see. I mean, what an absolute mess for chicken pasta. Not rocket science. I know how to clean it all up. Good morning, everyone. It is Monday morning. I'm wearing my hat again because you don't want to see what's underneath it. At this time of the morning, it's not a good look. So I'm laughing because everything that I said in my last clip there about all the things I was going to do on Sunday, I didn't do any single one of them. I did like practically the opposite. I didn't finish Shuggie Bain. I didn't have a roast. I didn't watch Your Honour. I didn't do a workout. Yeah, I did like literally the complete opposite. I ended up just making like some chicken pasta. We ended up watching a BBC travel documentary about the Americas because apparently we're 50 years old. Yeah, that's what we did. So this morning we're gonna finish Shuggie Bain. I've got some toast for breakfast. I'm going to try and get a workout done today. Yeah, and just do bits and bobs. I realised that I've like talked about reading Shuggie Bain, but I actually haven't like talked about it. So I'm going to talk about it now. There are some trigger warnings in this book. There is domestic abuse, there is alcohol addiction, there is rape, trigger warnings in there, things to do with that. it's a heavy book, which I'm not new to that. Obviously, you've seen me reading books before in the past, but it's so weird because I'm loving it so much, but there are moments where I afterwards, when I put it down, I'm like really affected by it. I'm like, wow. I think as well, I feel like that because I know that lots of my family basically lived during this time, and I know that my mum has told me stories about where she lived in Glasgow, like at the time that she was growing up, and it's like practically the same thing. And just what a harsh sort of reality people lived like in Glasgow at that time. I can't believe like I missed it by 15 years, you know? Like, I was born in 1995. 15 years before, it's just crazy. Like, I didn't have, my upbringing was just brilliant, amazing. And yeah, just reading this is just like, because it's so descriptive and so well told, I really feel everything that's happening in it. It's kind of got to the point just now where there's like a bit of hope in it. That basically the story centers around this woman, Agnes, who is the mother of 3 children, and she has an alcohol addiction, and kind of one by one her family sort of falls apart and leaves her, and the only person that she has to look after her and act as her rock is her youngest son, Shuggie Bain, who is described as strange, no right. He's obviously queer, and at that time it was just not a good thing to be, I guess, in Glasgow in the 1980s. Yeah, and it's kind of like centering around that, and it gets real dark real quick at points, and we're now at the point where there's kind of hope for Agnes, for the main character. I don't want to give things away, but she's doing good. I feel like everything's like on the up, but I just know there's like I've got like another 100 pages or so. I just know that the hope is not going to last. I know that something's coming again, or something's about to get bad, because any moment in the book where there seems like there's a bit of positivity or a bit of hope, it disappears and is gone by the next chapter. So I'm sad about that, because I'm actually feeling great about the fact that Agnes is doing well and her family is doing better. So I'm a little bit apprehensive about going into the final bit of it, because I know that it's probably not going to be good. Good as in not positive. Yeah, that's what I have to say. I'm literally recommending this to everyone that I'm meeting, especially from the people in Scotland that I know. I'm like, you have to read this book. Yeah, maybe hopefully one day when lockdowns are not a thing, I can show you a bit of Scotland and where I'm from and my hometown, which is nothing like these sort of places described in this book. Much nicer areas. But even like walking in Glasgow the past couple of days when I was getting my teeth done. I haven't got my teeth in right now, actually, by the way, my Invisalign, so that's why I don't have a lisp. But walking through Glasgow even the past couple of days, and obviously because of the pandemic and everything's been shut down, like I was walking through it, and every time I'm back there, I'm noticing more and more what a working class type of city it is, and actually how so much of it is kind of been neglected. Even in the centre, like there's buildings that are desolate, not being looked after anymore. As well, like Glasgow in particular. I mean, I just read like recently in the news, like a couple of months ago, that Scotland is one of the drug capitals of the world, of Europe, I think, of Europe, not the world, of Europe, which blows my mind. And Glasgow in particular is a city that is rife with drug problems and drug addiction and all that sort of stuff. And walking through the streets, like right now when the pandemic is on and nobody's really in them, the only people that are are inhabiting these spaces are the homeless, who are clearly so neglected by the system, who are all addicted to, let's say, like heroin and God knows what other drugs, and they're walking the streets and they have no help, and it becomes clear still the harshness of Glasgow for a place that is also, people love Glasgow and think it's beautiful and amazing, and people are described as the most like friendliest people you could ever meet, and I can totally attest to that. It's the loveliest people in the world, but you realise still there's the history of it still lingers in the background of it all. The moment that the shipyards and the industrial boom of all that kind of shut down, the remnants of poverty and all that kind of stuff still totally exists, and I think it's brought out more during this time when everybody's not on the streets hustling and bustling and going to work and going to the shops and all that sort of stuff. You realise how much of a problem homelessness and poverty and drugs really is, which is it's a shame, and I don't know what's been done about it. It's certainly, this book has forced me to research it and look it up and see like where it's came from and what the problems are that still exist, which is a sign of a fantastic book as well, because if something makes you want to look up something and research something, then it's clearly doing a great job. I paint that out as if Glasgow is this terrible, horrible place. It's not. I'm saying really quite the complete opposite, actually. I love Glasgow and will always love Glasgow and love it every time I go back, and I'm so excited to show people it whenever I'm taking friends up or whatever. But there is definitely a harshness and a darkness to it that exists, and I think I forgot that it did until I was reading this book again. But in saying that, even these people on the streets, so many of them are, it's obviously not their fault, and they still seem lovely and warm and have that kind of Scottishness about them that many places don't have, the friendliness and the warmth. Yeah, I don't know, that was a bit of a ramble, but it's definitely made me think. And yeah, if you've never ever been to Glasgow, I would recommend it in a heartbeat. There's so many great places to go and see when the world is normal, when there's not a pandemic. And as I said, everyone's so friendly and lovely and willing to help everyone. Definitely a kind of working class sort of vibe to it. And it's weird because this book, even though it paints it in such a harsh light, I also feel like it's just like a complete love letter to it. I feel like anyone who lives in Scotland, this like will be required reading for them, because it's so poignant and so visceral as well, the description of it all. And I think I haven't learned enough about what Glasgow is and the history of it, and it totally inspires me to want to know more. And again, like asking my mum about stories, and I wish I could ask my gran now. She's got dementia, she's in a care home. I wish I could ask her experience of what Glasgow was like during the 50s and the 60s and stuff, because I bet it was a very, very different time. But that's it. My toast's probably cold now, but I'm going to finish my book. I'm going to try and maybe make myself look more presentable, and then I'll get back to you. I finished it, guys. Wow. I finished a couple of hours ago and I still feel very, very low. Yeah, wow. This is a hard book to read. That is what I will say. I feel very affected by it. I feel like I've engaged with it so strongly, obviously because I'm from Glasgow, and yeah, my family's history, my family's life is not probably far dissimilar from the places that these people lived all that time ago. And yeah, now yeah, it's really sad. It's really, really sad. What really breaks my heart even now just thinking about it, throughout the whole thing is that Shuggie, you know, Agnes's rock throughout the whole story, he thinks that he has the power to save her, and that he can make everything right for her. And it's just heartbreaking, because I'm sure, as anyone knows, that no one can save someone who has an alcohol addiction. That the only person who can do that is themselves. And yeah, real hard, real distressing, bleak look at how alcoholism can ruin families and just decimate them. Yeah, I think I need to pick up the happiest book ever now to read next, because it's a lot. I would just warn you now, if you're going to pick it up, know that you're going in for a bumpy ride. I feel the same way as what I felt like when I read A Little Life. Like, that's honestly how I feel about it. Yeah, it's brutal. I would say it's brutal, but at the same time, it also does feel again like a kind of love letter to Glasgow in a way, and it ends with I think it ends perfectly, if I'm being honest. It leaves you just with that little bit of hope. Had it not, I think I would be like on the ground, like not being able to give you this video right now. But yeah, absolutely incredible. Like, sure, will become, I feel like it's an instant classic already. Like, everyone in Scotland ever will always talk about this book and read it, especially in Glasgow. And I also think if you're not from Glasgow or from Scotland, I still think that this book will appeal to you if you're into just a good piece of literature. This is it. And the fact it's a debut as well, like, what the hell. Yeah, I highly recommend. That's a 5 out of 5 star book from me again. Now I'm gonna go and listen to some happy songs, or I don't know, dance around and make myself feel better, because it was a lot. Yeah, I'll check back with you later and we'll see what book I'm reading next. Okay, I'm getting out my slump from feeling sad about Shuggie Bain. So I am in my home gym. We've got some equipment here that I got from the place that I work. I was working at before lockdown. So I'm gonna try and do some weights, which I haven't done in a week now. Need to get back into it. Yeah, gonna try and do that, shake my head off. I've also picked the next book that I'm going to read. I've got it in I have like a big huge suitcase of books because I don't have a bookshelf right now. And I picked this one. It's a little bit crumpled at the bottom, but it's okay. As a little light relief, I'm going to read Red, White and Royal Blue. I've seen lots of people read it. It's something that I would never read. Like, I just don't read romances at all. But this one sounds really fun. It sounds kind of ridiculous, but it's exactly what I need. Well, we'll see how it goes. I think it's about like the president's son and a prince fall in love with each other. Give me it. Make me feel good. I hope it goes well. I will start it tonight. Might start listening to it just now. In an audiobook whilst I get going, whilst I pump some iron. Yeah. Episode 1, Part 1, Your Honour. Here we go. Hey everyone, it's Tuesday morning. I am feeling a little bit better after last night, after finishing Shuggie Bain. I've definitely let it digest a little bit, even though the more I think about it, the more it's like having a profound effect on me, which clearly is a sign that it's definitely one of my top books I think I've ever read. Yeah, I feel like I could talk about it for ages, but I'm not going to do it in this video. I might come in another video, I don't know. But I have been reading Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. It's fun, it's easy. I've never read anything like it before. I think I'm going to hopefully fly through it. Yeah, I don't know what to really say yet. I've only just started it. I think it's going to be fun. It's like that maybe classic trope of two people, enemies to potentially lovers, I guess. But yeah, exactly kind of the book that I need right now after reading such a heavy one previously. So then I've also picked as my second book to read in this, no, the third book to read in this reading vlog is going to be The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. I've been wanting to read this forever, from the moment I've heard it was coming out. I've never read anything by Kristen before, and I've heard that everyone just thinks that she's absolutely amazing. I hear it's a bit of a tearjerker. I think the cover is different in the US compared to the one in the UK. I think I like the one in the US better, but we'll see. But I'm super excited to read it. I can't decide if I'm going to read this first and get it done, or I'm going to read like in between both. I'm not sure yet. I know I can get the audiobook for this as well. I think I'm going to listen to it and read it at the same time. But yeah, I am going to do a bit of a workout today. I'm in my workout clothes. What else am I going to do? I'm going to do a bit of studying, I'm going to read, and then, yeah, we watched Your Honour last night, the first episode. It's pretty gripping already. Bryan Cranston is amazing, obviously. Yeah, basically, Bryan Cranston is a judge in a city. His son knocks down a motorcyclist and basically kills him and freaks out and panics because he doesn't realise what he's done and nobody else is around, so he basically runs away and doesn't tell anyone. And this boy dies. The boy who dies is basically the son of the biggest crime mafia like family in the city, and so this judge says to his son, like, we can't tell anyone about this, like, you're gonna have to keep this secret for the rest of your life. But I've watched episode 1, I'm like, there's no way this guy is going to get away with it because there is evidence literally everywhere. But I guess we'll see. We'll watch more of that tonight and I will report back to you. I will report back to you soon after I've read a bit more of Red, White and Royal Blue, and I'll see how I'm getting on. Hi guys, it is a beautiful day in London, so I'm going to go for a walk and sit outside and read some more Red, White, what's it called? Yeah, Red, White and Royal Blue. It's pretty jokes, I won't lie to you. I think it kind of lost me when they described Alex, the president's son, going on to ITV and getting interviewed by the two ITV hosts who are old. One of them was called Dot or something like that. I was like, no, don't believe that. Don't think you've done your research enough to describe that. But you know, I'm reading it. It's fun. It's definitely getting a little bit like saucy. I didn't expect it to be kind of like as smutty as what it was. So yeah, I'm gonna go read it. Try and get it done soon so that I can move on to The Four Winds because I am so excited to read it. I mean, I am enjoying Red, White and Royal Blue. I've become a bit of like obsessed with like the idea of like the White House and like presidents and stuff like that. I watch right now West Wing. I've just started watching it like this year, and it's one of the best things I've ever watched in my entire life. So I like that side of it, but the West Wing, Red, White and Royal Blue, one's sophisticated, one's really not. But that's not the intention of it, I guess. But anyway, I'm rambling. I'm gonna go for a walk. It's another day. I've just woken up, had a shower, got my hair in an elastic band. I'm gonna do some morning yoga on the TV. Got my incense down there, got my little cup of peppermint tea. Gonna wake myself up. Then we're gonna finish Red, White and Royal Blue today. I keep getting that name wrong. Then hopefully start The Four Winds as well. Yeah. Okay, so I've got the washing on. If you hear like a rumbling sound, that's what it is. Guys, I'm gonna call it. This book sucks. It's pretty dreadful. I you know, I picked it up because I wanted it to be, you know, light, sort of palate cleanse, you know, just something a bit fun, a bit nice. I know there's books out there that can do that, but also are still good books. This is not. I see lots of people love it, so I guess we are all gonna have different opinions. But I think the characters, the plot, the dialogue, everything in it is so weak, so uninteresting. Work with me here. Are these what all romances are like? I don't think so. I think, God, I don't read romances a lot, but I think maybe one of the last ones I ever read was maybe The Time Traveler's Wife, right? Is that considered a romance? I think so. A bit of fantasy as well, I guess. But essentially a romance between these two people. And it was a superb book. Such a good book, such a good story. Amazing character, development, plot, everything. This honestly feels like I'm reading like a fan fiction online about two characters like who you imagine get together, and it's literally just some like smutty like paragraphs about it. That's what this book is. I'm so close to putting it down because I haven't finished it yet, and I should be done with it by now. Life is too short to read books like this, I think. No, that might be too harsh. I get that there's a place for these books. I just don't think they're for me. I hate to say it. Is it? And I know I don't like young adult fiction, so maybe, but like, is this even young adult fiction? I don't even think it is. I think this is just considered romance. Right? I might be wrong. I love the cover. It's so nice. I love actually the premise of it. Like, it sounded fun. It really did sound fun. I don't know if as well it's because I've read Shuggie Bain and I just was like, this book is like everything that I want. And then I came to this and I'm like, I feel like I'm reading something written by... It's just not good. I'm trying to be nice because this person obviously is great and they've published a book and they've got another one out, I'm sure, and yeah, and lots of people love it. I don't get why. Sorry. I'm so close to like not finishing it because I'm just like, I just want to move on, but I feel like I'll do myself a disservice if I don't. So I'm gonna try and get it done now. Maybe I'll change my mind with it, but I'm probably guessing I'm not gonna. Hi everyone, it's me again. I've just finished Red, White and Royal Blue, and do you know what? Yesterday I felt like I was a little bit of a Scrooge. I was a little bit grumpy and I said that the book wasn't very good. I take it back, okay? I finished it. A third way towards the end, I actually started to really engage with it. I actually got a little bit emotional reading it, which I did not expect at all. I mean, not that much, but I did tear up a little bit at one point. And you know what? I don't actually think this book is terrible. The writing, the characters, the dialogue, I stick by saying they're kind of jokes. But in saying that, I read the acknowledgements at the end, and Casey McQuiston basically said that she started writing this book in 2016, and obviously the Trump administration happened, and she struggled to write it at that point because she felt like giving up on it, really. And this book she wrote was purely an escapism for lots of people who were very unhappy with what happened, the outcome of the election, and the people who felt fearful and worried and all that kind of stuff. And knowing that actually makes me actually really appreciate this book, a novel about, you know, queer love being represented in something like the White House and the royals and all that kind of stuff. And I know that if I was 18 years old and I picked up this book and read it, I would have been obsessed with it. I honestly would have been, because it is hopeful, and you do feel like I would have felt like I was seen and that I was normal and all these sorts of things. And so in saying that, I was going to give this a 1 star. I'm only going to give it a 2 star, but it's better than a 1 star. But I don't hate it and think it's absolutely dreadful like I did yesterday, which is crazy because it's a wild turn of events. Yeah, I think if you want something very light-hearted, very easy, if you're into romances, if you're into something that's not going to challenge you probably whatsoever, this book, you should go and have a read at it. Yeah, I am now going to move on to not my favourite book, I haven't even read it yet, but a book that I'm super excited about reading, The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. Look at that cover, gorgeous. I'm so excited to start this. I'm going to start it right now. Yeah, I'm going to love it. I think lots of people are saying it's pretty brilliant, so we'll see how it goes. That's all I'm really doing at the moment. I'm in between that and watching The West Wing. I've just finished season 1 last night, and oh my god, it's some of the best acting I've ever seen. I think it's one of the best TV shows I've ever watched. I'm only on season 1. Like, I'm obsessed with it. I'm gonna go walk to the shops just now as well, and I'm gonna listen to a podcast which is called The West Wing Weekly, I think, which basically discusses every episode. That's kind of the level of obsession I'm getting with it, because I think it's absolutely amazing, and I'm sure if you've watched it yourselves you'll probably agree with me. So yeah, doing a bit of that, gonna do some reading. I'll check in with you in a bit. Oh, I realise as well, I should probably, if you don't know what this book is, I should explain what it is. I'm not sure if I told you the story of Red, White and Royal Blue. I mean, basically the president's son falls in love with the Prince of England, and they have this like secret love affair. Basically, it says on the front, true love isn't always diplomatic. That's what that was about. Sorry, I feel like I might have explained it, don't know if I did. But The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. I'm just going to read you the blurb real quick. Texas, 1934, Elsa Martinelli has finally found the life she'd yearned for, a family, a home and a farm on the Great Plains. But when the drought threatens all that she and her community hold dear, Elsa's world is shattered to the winds. One of the darkest periods of the Great Depression, the Dust Bowl era, has arrived with a vengeance. Farmers are fighting to keep their land and their livelihoods as crops are failing, the water's drying up, and dust threatens to bury them all. From the overriding love of a mother for her child, the value of female friendship, and the ability to love again against all odds, Elsa's incredible journey is a story of courage and sacrifice and what we do for the ones we love. Excited. Catch you in a bit. Hey everyone, what day is it now? I don't know. It's the evening of some night. I am back. The last time I spoke to you was about maybe a day and a bit ago. I haven't really filmed much in between then, but I have finished The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. And sad to say, it felt a little bit flat for me. I didn't cry again. I shouldn't follow anyone's advice when they say, oh my god, it made me sob, because usually at that point I'm not going to. I will sob when I read something that totally takes me off guard. This book was not that at all. I was really excited about reading this. I have never written by Kristen Hanna before. I know that she's written other books that people love, The Nightingale, The Great Alone, Firefly Lane, is it? Yeah, all these books. I've never read any of them before. I saw this on upcoming books of 2021 to read, and I was like, oh, this sounds so good. Historical fiction, America, Dust Bowl era, don't know anything about it, sounds great. And I don't know. I felt like most of the book was spent with the main protagonist not leaving her home, even though every single sign was telling her that she had to go. And I would flick onto another chapter and I'd be like, for God's sake, woman, leave, go. Yeah, she just wouldn't take her family, no matter like how desperate her situation was. It's crazy. Like, I've since obviously looked up the Dust Bowl era, looked at pictures, all these things, like crazy time that people live through. this must be so hard. And obviously I've read the author's note afterwards, and now she's kind of reflecting on how like she wrote this kind of at the time, and then was going to release it at the time. Obviously we're going through now with COVID and you know, going into another recession in the world and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, so that aspect of the book, totally like, wow, engrossing. But she wouldn't leave her home, and that was lots and lots of the book, which for me started to get a bit boring. She eventually leaves, goes to California with her family. I feel out of nowhere, a love ensues between her and another character. That's this character that comes out of nowhere. It doesn't feel fully realised. It kind of feels a bit out of nowhere. It doesn't really develop that much, so I don't care about it. And then something happens at the end, and I didn't care about it. And that's kind of how I felt about it. The final chapter was lovely. It didn't make me cry, but I was like, oh, I felt like a touching moment. But it was kind of bland throughout all of it, to be really brutally honest. The writing is good. The writing is great. I thought, yeah, it's brilliant. I would be intrigued to read her other books. Some people say that her books seem very formulaic in the way that they're set out, so they're all quite similar. I don't know if that's true or not. I would be really intrigued to find out, so I definitely might want to read The Great Alone or The Nightingale, for sure, to like check that out, because I do think she's a great writer, and the story was there. I kind of lost interest in it, which is annoying. I'm still really intrigued by this era. So I think like what I'm going to do is I actually really want to read The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck, which again I think is also set in the Dust Bowl era, but obviously this is kind of a bit more of a modern classic, and it's supposed to be some of his greatest work. And I just think that maybe I would love to still stay in that era and read it from another author's point of view and see how I feel about it with that. But yeah, The Four Winds, kind of predictable, didn't really hit the right spot for me. 3 out of 5 stars, because it was fine. Maybe I'm even being too nice, but who cares? Yeah, that is the end of my reading vlog. We've read Shuggie Bain, which blew my socks off. Red, White and Royal Blue, and The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. I feel that was a pretty good bunch of books. Comment below, like, subscribe. Comment below if you want to see me do another reading vlog, what you want me to see me reading, what you want me to include in the next one. Obviously I've filmed little bits, but other bits I haven't because I'm not that good. So if you want to see parts of my life, please let me know about it, and I will add it into my next reading vlog, hopefully soonish. Yeah, that's all I've got to say. Much love, people. Keep reading, keep thinking, keep feeling, and I will see you soon.